Hi there. Today I'm going to look at a wine that's a real sweet Andalucian treat. Casa del Inca's Pedro Ximenez. Marketed by a company called Equipo Navazos, who are one of the trendy names in sherry, high quality sherry production at the moment. But from elsewhere in Andalucia, from Montilla, which is a region slightly to the northwest of sherry, more inland, actually to the north of Malaga. So an area with a long history of winemaking. I believe that, I understand that there's evidence to suggest that winemaking in this area goes back to the 8th century BC. But it's not until 1945 that the Montilla region, Montilla-Moriles, gets its DO and gets its own identity. Prior to that, a lot of its wine was sold as either sherry or as Malaga. This grape variety, Pedro Ximenez, works very well in the sort of dry inland area. I mean, they only get about 2 foot of rain a year, and it has very thin skin, so you can dry it sort of outside on mats in the sun. You get a sort of a concentrated, almost like a sort of a sultana or a raisin grape that you can then press very carefully, ferment briefly, and it's then fortified. This particular wine's 15%, so not as heavily fortified as, say, a port would be, but it allows it to be sweet without any chance of the wine re-fermenting. The grapes are harvested, late harvested, so they're very ripe. They have very little acidity, so there's an incredible concentrated sweetness. Looking at it here, you've got a sort of a nut brown colour to a golden tawny at the rim. You can see very intense legs there. That's your mixture of a high alcohol, high sweetness. I mean, this could be anywhere up to 400 grams per litre sugar. I don't think it's quite as sweet as that, but let's have a taste of that. So, smelling it, you've got a lovely rich aroma, almost of sort of figs, dried figs, sweet ripe figs, as I say, sultana. There are nutty notes, but not in the same way as you'd get with something like an Oloroso sherry, where there'd be sort of hazelnut notes or that sort of thing from oxidation. This hasn't been oxidized. After it's been fermented, it gets aged in amphorae, so it's fairly protected from oxygen, and it keeps its fruitiness. Tasting it, wow, you've got wonderful sort of syrupy nectar type texture there, intense sweetness on the front of the tongue, a warmth, but the warmth is from the alcohol is all immersed in the wine's body, and it's just these layers of sort of rich texture of dried fruit. It's almost like sort of a little bit like sort of a mince pie in a glass, if you're familiar with that sort of UK Christmas delicacy. It's that sort of sweetness. There isn't the sort of the candied, I suppose there isn't the intense candied peel note you'd get. I'm told that one of the nicest, I mean, this is a great way of finishing a meal just as a glass, but I'm told a great way of utilising Pedro Ximenez is to actually soak sultanas in it overnight and then serve those with a drizzle of Pedro Ximenez over really nice vanilla ice cream. So might try that tonight. Cheers everybody.